So in this video, we're going to continue our work with this technique of factoring using substitution. And these are trinomials that do not start out being quadratic trinomials, so they do not start out looking like our normal ax squared plus bx plus c, but we are going to introduce a new variable u, and we're going to do a substitution so that we can rewrite our given trinomial to end up looking like au squared plus bu plus c, which is a quadratic trinomial, and then we can use our techniques of factoring to factor, okay? And so let me remind you of the steps. The steps that we're going to use in this method are: we are going to write the trinomial in descending order as needed, descending powers. We're going to factor out the GCF, and then we're going to substitute u for the non-coefficient part of the middle term. So that's the key. The middle term of the original polynomial is going to determine what u is, and we're not going to use the coefficient, just the variable part. So we're going to rewrite our original in terms of u and get it looking like that au squared plus bu plus c. Then we're going to factor, and the last step is that we substitute back in to get our answer back in the original variable that we started out with. In this video, we're going to do trinomials that involve a square root like this. So here we have an x plus 10 square root of x plus 24, which is not a quadratic because our highest power is x to the first, right? According to our substitution method that we have been talking about with the factoring, we were going to first look for a GCF, which these three terms, the GCF is 1. But then remember, we're trying to get this to rewrite this to look like this: au squared plus bu plus c. Okay, we're trying to get it to be like this. So that tells me that my u is going to represent this square root of x. Do you see that? I find that if I line these up right on top of each other, that it's easy to see what u must be. So we're going to introduce this new variable u, and it's going to represent square root of x. By the way, square root of x can also be written as x to the 1/2. So your book may have the problem starting out with x to the 1/2, that fraction exponent, or it might have it as a square root of x. Either one would work, okay? But notice that if we square the square root, we know that that's equal to x, because squaring a square root, those are inverse functions. But also with our properties of exponents, we can see that x to the 1/2 squared is x. And what we're doing here is that we are verifying that this u squared is that x that was in my original problem. Okay, so that's what I just verified that. So now our next step is to rewrite using u. So rewrite using your u. So u squared is our x. Then we have plus 10, and then u, which is taking the place of square root of x. And then we have our constant 24. So now this is a quadratic trinomial, and we can factor it pretty easily since the leading coefficient is 1, and we need two numbers that multiply to 24 and add up to 10, which is plus 6 and plus 4, right? Positive 6 and a positive 4 multiply to the 24 and add up to the 10. Okay, but don't leave your final answer in this form. This is a common error. Students will stop here, okay? You need to go back and rewrite your answer in terms of the original x variable. So keep in mind that u represents square root of x, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put back square root of x for u, and nothing else changes. We just replace the u with the square root of x. And so there's our final answer. Okay, we're going to try that one more time. So in this problem, we once again have x plus 6 square root of x minus 16. We're trying to get that to look like au squared plus bu plus c, this quadratic, which means that u must be square root of x again, right? So we're going to let u equal the square root of x. And when we square u, we've talked about this a minute ago, that this equals x. And so that's exactly what we have here. U squared is x. We have that exactly there, so we're verifying. So now we're going to rewrite our original trinomial, but now with u's instead of x's. So we've got u squared plus 6u minus 16. And so we're going to factor that quadratic, right? Because now we do have a quadratic in u. And two numbers that multiply to a negative 16 and add up to a positive 6 would be a positive 8 with a negative 2. Right? But now don't stop here because we have to substitute back in the fact that we know that u was representing square root of x. And actually this time I'm going to write u equals x to the 1/2 because some homework systems will want you to rewrite the final answer with a fractional exponent. So just for practice, so I'm going to write x to the 1/2 plus 8 and x to the 1/2 minus 2. Your answer could be this, or it could be square root of x plus 8 times square root of x minus 2. So these are equivalent answers, and I just want to make sure that you know that. Okay, are you getting the idea of how to do this substitution, this factoring?